Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Robin Fernandez, and I'm the Director of Customer Success here at Tango. I've been with Tango 5.5 years, and I'm really excited to be able to talk with you all today. We're going to talk about everyone's favorite subject, how to spot escalations and manage them. So our agenda for today is first we need to identify those escalations, how to manage them, and then how do we turn an escalation into an opportunity. So first, let's talk about identifying potential escalations. Lorena is going to launch a poll for us to see what are some of the typical escalations that you're experiencing. Like the key ones that we see here is support tickets in the lead with product functionality following right behind it. And those are really the top ones that we see. Oops. So support tickets is usually the most popular one. Drops in usage, are they not using our product the way we want them to, or do we see a significant decline in license utilization and it's not a holiday time? Product functionality, are there gaps? They're not able to do what they want to do. It could potentially be they thought they bought one thing and they are getting a different experience. Organizational changes, I think that's a big one, especially right now, is a new person comes in a leadership role and they want to be able to rip and replace with what they know, right? So they came from a company that used your competition. Now they're with a customer of yours and now you've got a risk. They're disengaged. They kind of fell off the side of the earth. We had a good relationship. We thought we were moving forward and all of a sudden they stopped talking to us. Next is poor NPS. Did we get a bad CSAT score from them or a low NPS, especially from someone in an executive role? And the last one I've added here is really more of a sign of the times here, and that's a COVID-19 impact. I didn't see a lot of votes for that one in particular, but it is something that people are experiencing. So why is managing escalations important? First is we want to be able to drive our client adoption and create a better relationship with. Part of managing escalation is empowering your CSMs. Do they have the support they need, the information they need to be able to solve and remove barriers to help our customers move forward and find value? And this leads to increasing expansion your opportunities as well as retention, especially on a newer customer where you want to make sure you're getting your first year renewal rates to be at 100%. But by getting the CSMs empowered, they can help with that expansion opportunity and retention. CSMs for a couple, I'm seeing some chats coming in for some couple of clarifications. CSM, Customer Success Manager or Client Success Manager. And NPS is your Net Promoter Score. Others might use a CSAT or a Customer Satisfaction Score, or you'll also see CES, which is Customer Effort Score. How hard was it for me to do this onboarding? What was that experience? Thanks for the quick questions. And lastly, mismanagement can lead to really the team losing their morale. If they aren't getting the help that they need to process escalations, they're going to really feel that they can't get their job done and they're not going to feel successful. And so low morale will lead to churn internally. So let's talk about the core aspects to managing our escalations. First thing we want to do is have an early warning system. This is really health, right? We want a really good health score so we can understand immediately when we're seeing these red flag indicators. And also other types of alerts. It might be more of an email alert, could be a task alert, letting you know, hey, we're seeing something going on over here that is an early indicator that there's going to be a problem. Having a well-defined process. When a customer goes into escalation, what do? Are we all standing around kind of staring and hoping for the best? Or do we have a process that we can drive through? So having that well-defined process is going to help us manage it faster and better. A visibility into the status. So understanding not just that the customer is in an escalation state, but where are they in the process of getting out of that escalation? What are our goals and KPIs? We always want to have no escalations, but it's not a perfect world. So we know we're going to have escalations, but how are we measuring them? Are we understanding the whys of why we're at escalation, the revenue value, and even where we are, if they're a renewal or not? And being able to analyze that so we can fix it in the future so we don't continue to have the same issues over and over again. And then the ability to present this to the leadership team. We're all going to be held accountable up the chain. So making sure that we understand those goals and KPIs, we've done our analysis, we understand the status and the process. So now when we go into to present to the leadership team, we're more empowered and we can create better ways to move forward. So let's look at how we can implement this into Tango. First is going to be our goal to quickly mitigate and to resolve. And so to do that, we need that visibility I was talking about. How many customers do we have at risk? What's our trend? Are we seeing more and more customers at risk? Or are we seeing that trend going down, which is the way we want to see it going? And of those customers, how many are in a renewal state? We know a renewal is coming. Customers make a decision 6 months before the renewal if they're going to churn or not. So are we getting in there before that time period? And what does that dollar value represent? Where are they in the process? And understanding the why so we can fix that. And then understanding of all of our customers, we know we've got 35 at risk, but what percent of our customer base is that? And what percent of revenue does that represent? So really being able to understand and analyze this, and it's a great dashboard for us to be able to go to present to the leadership team. And what I really love about this as well is the ability to dive in. Right now, I'm looking at the client base as a whole. As a director, I care about all my enterprise accounts and how we're working, but I also want to understand it at a customer success manager level. So being able to say, hey, look at dive into Susan and understanding what does Susan's look like versus what does Leslie's look like. So we can see who's doing well, how do we help them, who's getting stuck, how do we help them. So let's dive into the analytics of this. So behind each scorecard is a segment. And so this is going to let us know who are those customers that are in this escalated state. And I can actually understand each customer, the reasons why, where they are in the process, and how long they've been in the process. So I really like to be able to see this in a list view. And I also like to go beyond the list view. I tend to like to look at it in a progress view so I can look at everybody who's in each state together. And then I like to look at my timeline or my work view so I can get a better understanding of what are the steps we're doing right now for a specific customer. So let's go ahead and dig into Line Tech. So when we look at Line Tech, we can understand that we've got a progress meetings are already set up. We've got them coming every week so we can make sure we're moving forward in the right direction, course correct where we need to course correct, and get them back into good graces with us. And the nice thing I like here is I have the ability to take some action. I can add a touch point. So if I had a meeting with the customer, I can quickly add that information here. Did I complete the task? I complete the task and add my touch point when I complete it. Or if we want to run a play, I can run the play right from here. So it really allows me a lot of flexibility on how I want to make sure I'm getting this customer updated and moving forward internally. I like to use this in our escalation meetings as well as in one-on-ones. So my leadership can come here anytime they want. I actually send them the segment via Zoe on a weekly basis. So once we understand where they are, we do need to create a process. What does that look like? Do we have different processes based on the reason they're in an escalation, right? Do we have something for those that are in the support state versus someone who's experiencing more of an organizational change? We're going to handle those probably a little bit differently. Or do we have more of a general outline and then we kind of enhance from there? But what our success plays allow us to do is trigger based on the reason or where they are in their life cycle stage. You also have the ability to create them manually. So if you just want to trigger them when you want to, you can, outside of it being event-based. Making sure the right people are aware. So as soon as a customer gets put into an escalated state by a customer success manager, I want my manager to know, right? Am I letting the right people up and down in the organization, aware, or across the organization. So I can let my sales partner understand, hey, our client that we have in common is having a problem. How are you going to be able to help me? I'm letting my VP know, hey, this is going on at this account. I need your help. And here's what I need from you. And start creating internal alignment very, very quickly. And then the CSM is empowered to update the risk attributes and the stages at task completion to help move the customer forward in a little bit more automated way within the system and more of the tactical day-to-day things that we do within Tango. So let's go ahead and see, what does this look like into Tango? So I'm going to go ahead and change my screen here and move into Tango. And what I've done is created an escalation success block. So I go to the menu at the top of the screen, and it's right here, escalation. And so you can see I've really made sure to be in depth so we can really understand everything I need to understand while my client is within the escalation, but also after the escalation, because I need to turn this into an opportunity. That's what an escalation is giving us, an opportunity to get better and to improve our relationship with the customer. So I want to be able to understand our net promoter score. It could be that I want to do maybe more of a customer satisfaction score instead, depending on how we operate. Being able to understand how many accounts came out of escalation. And I want to look at that weekly. So not just the trend, but how are we doing each week, seeing that that number of 9 open escalations is going down. And what is their health post-escalation? You may be looking at this over a 2-week period, maybe more of a month period, depending. I tend to look at it by a month, but I'm always keeping track of the customers as a whole. Okay, so that really helps me get the picture and making sure that we're not seeing customers bounce back into escalation after we've solved it. When I look at my segment, I'll show you what we did with Line Tech. So here I can easily see I'm in the progress view. You can see it at the top right. So I can actually just look at it by what stage customers are in. Who are the 4 that I have are in this early part? And then who are we creating resolution with? And then I can see who we've resolved. And I can see easily too, what's my escalation reason? So I can also sort to see, are we seeing that the majority are around product functionality? What is the product doing to help me solve these issues? And then you can see I have the solve time at the end there. I can easily change the values from here. So I can say, you know what, Vodafone, we've moved them out of active escalation. We're now in resolution, and my segment will automatically update for me. I can do it on the account as well. This CSV is exportable. So you have the ability to come up to the top right and you'll see the little kebab, the 3 dots. And when I click on that, I can download this so you can export this if you need it for a report to send. I tend to like to do it via Zoe, which is the 3 dots up here at the top. And I share it as a segment so that I can send it out to others. And all the columns will come out in the CSV or in the Zoe. Thank you, Matt, for the question. What I do want to show you is you have the timeline and the work view at the top as well. Let's look at the work view. This is what we were seeing in my screenshot a little bit earlier. So we can easily see all my columns have all moved over to the right-hand side of the page. I didn't lose them, okay? They're still here for me. But we can easily see that I've got an active escalation. It's due to low product utilization. And I'm starting immediately, a success play kicked off for me so I can have an outline of what are the key things that I need to do with this customer. Right now, they're all assigned to me as I'm the CSM. But I can see I've got a kickoff meeting that I need to do with my customer, and I've got 2 progress report meetings going on, and I have a post-escalation. I can add additional tasks here if I need to by clicking on the green Take Action button. So if I need to add one more task to this, I can just say add a task and add in, maybe I need to have an executive level meeting as well, or I found based on the plan that we've got in place, I might need to do some education because this is about low product utilization. So I can add in any additional steps that I need to right from here. Okay, so when I'm in a one-on-one with my team, I always like to make sure, do we have the right actions in place? Are we being on time with them? And if I'm not seeing the touch points that I need to see, they can actually add them right from here. Now, if you don't really have an automated process right now because you're not really sure what your best practice should be in handling escalations, maybe you have more of like a framework that you're trying to figure out, what you can do is run a manual success play. So if I click on take action here, you'll notice I have run success play. These are not event based. So as soon as I put someone at risk or in an active escalation, it's not going to trigger. The CSM has to choose to trigger it, or someone else with a Spark license needs to choose to trigger this. And I can easily come in here and say, just show me the escalation ones. And then I can choose what's the right one that I want to run. If it's regarding relationship issues, I could click select here. Oops. And then it'll actually add all of the tasks there for me, easily to add those. If you're trying to involve other resources outside of the CS team, you do have the ability to do that. Thanks for the question. So how you would do that is, one is when you create a task, we'll just do it from this task button here. I have the ability to choose somebody else. So if my salesperson that's assigned to this account, I can actually just choose sales manager and it'll understand who that person is. Maybe I want to send it to my manager, then I can go ahead and type that person's name in and it'll go find him for me and then we can add him in. My boss isn't in here, so let me pick, we'll pick Guy, the CEO. Why not? He's got a task that he needs to do as well, and he has access to Tango via Spark. Now, another way to include others is via the Zoe license, because they have the ability to participate with you in completion of tasks through that product line. So you have a couple of ways to do it. One other way you can include others is using our touchpoint functionality. When I add a touchpoint, I can easily add in a participant, and I also have the ability to mention anyone on the team so they can be aware of what's going on with this account. So great question. Thanks so much, Monique. So let's go ahead and jump back into our slides. And so we talked about that process and some ways we can kind of go about it. So let's start talking about our opportunity outcomes. One is really being able to surface those internal improvement areas. We said support and product were big ones for us. Support, great team to be able to partner with. They're really good at helping to improve their processes. Maybe it's a knowledge base issue, maybe we need to do more training, but making sure we're getting better internally so we can help our customers better moving forward. Being able to convert that customer from at risk to an advocate. If you're really handling your situations with professionalism, with ease, being really communicative, having a plan and sticking to your plan, they're going to really appreciate you handling that and not letting it just sit and fester, right? So being able to really create a relationship with them that's going to lead to better things because they know you're going to take care of them and your competition may not be able to take care of them the way you do. Develop and improve those relationships. You might actually be creating relationships with people you hadn't before. Maybe you got escalated in the within the organization and now you're getting to meet some people you didn't get to meet before. Maybe you're getting some more cross-functional opportunities to build those relationships, and that's only going to lead to better expansion and renewal rates as well. And lastly, employee morale. I know when I solve a customer problem that I get happy at the end of the day. I helped solve a problem. I helped make something better. I was empowered to do it, and I made a difference with the company and my customer. So that's always a good feeling. So employee morale is really important because when you have employee morale, you have company morale. So let's talk about some key takeaways. One is identify, right? That's where we started in the agenda today. So making sure you've got a really good early warning system, including your health score, so that you have the capability to remediate. Your CS teams have the ability to understand what's going on, and they have the right indicators to detect a problem, classify them, and handle them quickly, being very action-oriented. Manage. We've got to have a really good program in place, right? Make sure we've got that program. Sometimes it's going to be, we learn as we go, and that's a good thing, so we can always get better and determine what those best practices are. We want to make sure we have speed. We don't want to see customers that are sitting in escalation 30 days, 60 days. We've got a problem if they're stuck there. Right? Want to make sure we have a good resolution success rate. And then effectively managing promotes the fact that you won't have as many escalations in the future, which is what we all want. No one likes dealing with escalations. And last, create opportunities. We've created ways for them to understand how we're going to support them. We've developed the relationships, and that's always a very successful outcome. Thank you all so much. Want to turn it back over to Lorena to help me with any questions. I've kind of seen some coming in through the chat, but are there any questions for me right now?
Yes, we do have a question. What are steps in an escalation process?
Great question. Thanks so much, Lorena. So some steps, you want to really kind of make it simple and easy for the team. You don't want to make it overly complicated when you're thinking about the process. We have a 4-step process here at Tango. It's at risk or escalated state. So it's an active escalation. We just found out about it. So that's when we're doing the first step in the process of creating that internal awareness and what's our game plan going to be. Then we have plan in place. So that's where we communicate the plan to the customer and we're working the plan, and that's where those progress steps come into play. And then we have monitoring. So we've done our plan, and now we're kind of in that next couple of weeks where we're making sure things are staying stable, nothing's backsliding, we're still working in a good way. And then I move them into resolved state. Everything's still looking good. I can see that their health is increasing, they're green, we can see that utilization is going up and everything's back into a steady state, and we've got green signs ahead. So those are those steps that I typically would suggest that you have.
Question: if I know a customer is at risk, what should my first action item be?
So as soon as you find out a customer is at risk, first thing you want to do, put it into Tango. Let them know, say, hey, this customer is at risk, and start them in the state, right? Find out why, let's put in the reason why. And I always log a touch point, because just because I know the reason is product gap doesn't tell me what's the product gap, why is this a problem, what's the use case. So creating the touch point, and I always take that touch point and I email it out. I email it to the key people that are going to help me, those stakeholders are going to help me get this fixed, right? And then I set up an internal meeting so that we can all get together on what is the plan to move forward. So it could mean that my VP is making a phone call. It could be that we're doing a joint call, or it could be something else that we need to do where we're leveraging another team to help move us in the right direction. Great question. Thanks so much. Okay.
Thank you all for taking the time to join us.